Yes, we are live. Easy, guys. How you doing?
Easy. Yeah, we're good. How you doing?
All good. So we are here live on the Education and Base and Nominee Facebook. Myself, Nominee, today joined by Saraphim. I bet you're glad. I bet you're glad I got that right.
Yes.
My man.
You know what it was? Because the name you had before,
Yeah.
Seraph, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the E. Or was it
That's
Sarah?
right. Yeah. You're not the only one. Trust me.
And that's what tripped me out. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not the only one, mate.
So Saraphim, we've got Steve and Rick, who are doing some good things in the 140 world. They've just had a release on the Education and Base label, and they've got a few things in the works. Some they're allowed to tell us about and some not. We kicked off with a track called Highs and Lows that's out now.
Yeah.
Out now. Vomit Spit.
Was it about 4 weeks ago? Something like that? 4 or 5 weeks ago?
On Vomit Spit. Okay, cool. And yeah, so go grab that. And the track, we'll play it in a bit, but the track Origins that's come out on Friday on the Education and Base label. Well, I won't say too much about it now, but it's just a nod to kind of the origins, right? The foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'll just quickly, I met you guys, I met Rick for the first time in Chelmsford at Intense Records.
They got Intense Records gang.
I'll type Shuffle in the gang.
Yeah.
And we did an Education and Base masterclass there, and you rolled in a bit late with a demo. And then we saw you again at the second time I saw you guys was at the Subtle. We did an Education and Base thing with Subtle.
5 miles.
5 miles.
Yeah.
And then I saw you guys there as well. Did you you played a track for feedback that time, didn't you?
We didn't get it. We were late on that one again. Yeah. So we think, because it was strange that one where I think the order which the tracks went into the computer, if you got there first, your tune ended up at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's some way how it happened. So we because I think they were running out of time to change it was going from Education and Base masterclass to the night, wasn't it? And they gave us X amount of time for it to change over, and we just didn't creep in at the end. So we played at the first one, but we didn't quite get played out on the second one we went to, because we just ran out of time because they wanted to change over, because it was at 5 mile and they were doing an evening event as well there. I think Subtle
New World Audio, wasn't it? That's what it was.
Yeah. So they was like, out, you got to get out. We need to change over to Subtle. Big up Subtle gang as well.
Yeah, man,
I'll type Subtle gang. And then, was it Rick? Were you signed up as a subscriber to Education and Base, did you? Or was that Steve? You, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've been on there pretty early. Yeah. Because I think if you're looking for a wide variety of different types of, let's just say for underground music, let's say your drum and bass, your dubstep and so forth, it's nice to have everything in one place with some let's say guys in the industry who are doing it, and you look towards people who are making that music and showing you how to do it. And obviously as yourself, for me, yourself, Nerve, those are some selling points to see people under one roof doing the music I listen to and showing us what it's about and how to do it.
Thanks for that. I didn't even pay you to say that.
I'll get my commission later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the honest truth. That's genuinely, because you can flick through YouTube and you can try and sift through all sorts of different artist pages, find a bit of information here, a bit of information there, but you've got it all under one roof, and it's just easier.
Wicked. Well, I'm glad you joined us, and you've shown your faces at the masterclasses and the workshops, because one thing I always say to up and comings is just be seen, man. Socialize, network. People go on about networking because it is a crucial factor. I think in this day and age, you're actually seen before you're heard, and that's a prime example. Because Rick, you turned up late to the Chelmsford one. You did play me a track actually, or a couple of tracks, I remember. But
Mari.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought I remembered it. And then you guys turned up to the second one. We didn't actually get to hear a track, but now look what's happened. So you guys have got Steve's had an album out on Nerve's Macabre Unit label.
Yeah.
I've signed an EP for Nominate Sound. You've had a release on the Education and Bass thing. There's some other stuff that you can't just say just yet, but that, obviously the first part of that, so obviously the Nominate Sound thing and Nerve, that was through just you getting out and about and networking and being seen at our events, and you know, Rick coming up to me in Chelmsford and saying, look, I know the session's finished, but can you really just take a few seconds to listen to this track? And we did it, you know. And I think for anyone listening now that's looking for tips on getting signed, first of all, you've seen before you heard. Second of all, networking. And is that something you guys are conscious of when you're going out and about?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. 100%. It really has, just going through to the nights, getting to talk to people, it just completely opens it up, because then, you know, conversations online at other events, you know, just carry on from that, and it gives you that personal touch, you know what I mean, that you come in and it's not just someone who you have no idea, coming in completely cold, just like, hey, check my track out. There's no like attachment there, you know. You're like, okay, there's only one goal here, but like, having that, it really does kind of be, okay, yeah, it's cool. We checked before you're cool. You know who that person is, and it's just so much more of a. It just feels so much more natural, you know, sort of getting stuff over.
And so also as well, another thing about it is, well, believing in yourself, having the confidence of knowing what you have music-wise. If you don't believe in yourself, then you can't expect other people to. So I think that helps when coming up and introduce yourself to somebody and saying, look, here, I've got this music, you know, would you take the time to listen to it? You know, because I think a big part of it is just getting your music heard by the right set of ears. And if you believe in what you've got and you think, you know, other people might connect to it, just go out there, do it. Don't worry about falling over and getting rejected, because if you believe enough in what you're doing, genuinely, I think you'll find your music will find its place, or whatever you're doing in life, really, you know, you can apply that to anything, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So on that, how long was it before you had the confidence to send your music out,
this is gonna sound
or let others hear it? Like,
well, for me, well, it depends, like where the start point was.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I started making tunes, or trying to start to make tunes seriously, when I was around about 17. And it took me to around about probably 2005 before I was sort of sending stuff out, getting absolutely nowhere. It was, for me, 2008 sort of got to the point where people started listening, and that was, well, yeah, about a good 7 years in, was it? I guess. Yeah, it's about right, I think. So yeah, it was quite some time for me to get the confidence, but there was a lot of stuff there as well for me to have confidence in, because I was, you know, I've been playing keyboard since I was 11, so there was some things there which kind of just made me easy. It's easier for me to sort of draw myself to those elements of the track and find confidence in them, as opposed to some other stuff that I would hear, because it was just like something to set it apart. But for you, I guess it was a bit different, eh?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've been in and out of production since about 2003. I did, funnily enough, actually start my music journey at a school which is now defunct in Kingston upon Thames. I did a higher diploma in sound engineering and music business, but I never really, I came out of that in 2000, I think like 2004. Didn't really stick with music because at the time it was hard. I wanted to get into a studio, do studio work, just was nothing about. But in short, I've been in and out of music production for a while, but never really releasing music because I've never really finished anything. So to be honest with you, Amari was the first song we did under Saraphim, and I literally I knew what we had at the time, and it was just like, right, let's go. We basically approached everyone with one song. All we had was one song. That was our first song we did as Saraphim.
And now it's coming out on my label.
Yeah, it's pretty mad. We think, yeah. But it's because we've all been in music for so long. So, you know, and I've DJ'd for Steve that can DJ as well. But we've been into music for so much time, for so long that even though it was our first song together, we was like, you know, we're pretty confident that between the two of us, we made an all right song. You know, I was like, I'm a bit fussy as a DJ. I would say I do have a particular sort of music I like, and so I was like, if I'm going to play it, I'll play it. So I'm sure there's other guys who will be interested in this playing it. So yeah, in short, the short answer is that the first song we did under Saraphim, which we made Saraphim, we made about a year and a half ago, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty much the start, wasn't it, of 2019?
Yeah, and we'd handed it out, and it got, well, you signed it within like maybe when we did, I don't know. I think it took about 6 months to get it signed, possibly. I'm guessing something like that. So it was quite a quick process from us deciding that we're going to do this joint project to Saraphim. We've been friends and doing music around each other for absolutely years. Yeah, we did like 20 years. But
there's tons of groundwork people.
There's a lot to run up to being able to sit in here and just, well, be it, like, you know, just the whole thing. We're friends outside of like music. We just was like, why haven't we done this before?
It's pretty crazy.
Both like music, both like dubstep. Let's do something. And so it was just, I think we were already sort of had an eye for music, and we already built up enough confidence over the years. But I would just say, if you don't have the experience we have, just play it to your friends, man. The people who are going to give you an honest answer, and then, because I think you do need to have somebody else to say to you before you know, we all, as producers listening, you'll know that one night you make a banger and you send it to someone, and then you listen to it the next day, you're like, oh God, I wish I'd send that out, because you thought it was a smasher that night, but you listen, you know, your ears are rested, you listen to it the next day. I do think, you know, most people, I can't say for everybody, but most people, I think you need maybe a second set of ears to just confirm, you know, you have got something there, or you haven't, you might need to go back, work. I mean, and we still have to send stuff. You know, we still,
between ourselves there, absolutely.
Yeah, we still have to go back to drawing board and certain things. You know, even with sending stuff to some labels and stuff, like I really like that. But if you know, you might need to do this different. So we're still on a learning curve. You know, education and base. We're you know, we're looking for pointers, because I think you're always learning with music. It's always a learning. Nothing, you never say you're 100% there.
World of sound is massive, man.
Yeah.
They're 100%. There's a couple of things that stuck out to me there that's really important, especially when we're trying to advise people that are up and coming or looking to get a break. And that was that you're fussy when it comes, as a DJ, you're quite particular. And the fact that you'd measured your track up against stuff that you would play.
Yeah.
That's really important. It's really important. I always say to people, can you hand on heart play it against some of your favourite tracks or stuff that you like, and can you hand on heart say that it's up there, it's as good, or, you know, forgetting about the loudness thing for a minute, just kind of maybe the arrangement, the quality of the production, the idea, the way it flows in the mix. If it's for the dance floor, for the DJ tool, it might not be. It might be some experimental kind of more musical stuff. Like some of Steve's album is a bit more kind of less for the dance floor, but there's also kind of the dance floor stuff, and we'll play one of those tracks. But that's really important to just be as honest with yourself, because it's really easy to get it twisted. So you start here, you learn, you start putting some sounds together, things sound okay, and it's very easy to get gassed and think that because you've gone from here to here, and actually that's something to pat yourself on the back about, and maybe your friends have said, you know, that's a good achievement, it's wicked, it's a banger, but then it's really easy to kind of get it twisted and actually kind of it's not actually ready, but you've just gauged your own progression from phase 1 to phase 2, but actually it probably needs to be at 4 or 5 before you actually unleash it. So what you said there is really important, and that is kind of your own quality control, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's one of the things that meant that it took me so long to come up with the album, because there was so many tracks that didn't make the cut. I said to myself before doing it, I was like, okay, this is good. There was a couple of tracks which, like you said, you know, you're kind of sitting here, you do something, you make this next level tune, and then you're here. You can fall back to this if you want, but you know you want every single track to be here or better than that. And that was the idea behind the album. I was like, look, I have to make everything at this level or higher, because otherwise, you know, what's the point? I just carry on releasing stuff which I just got comfortable with, you know, just making, and I like the sound of it. But in reality, as you say, you've got to be critical enough to yourself to say that this isn't up to scratch to everything else out there. And it wasn't. So I just had to just spend that time. And it took me 2 years to get to that point to have 10 tracks. And, you know, it was just, that was the reason why. Just being critical enough to say, and being realistic with myself to say, look, do I actually think these are good enough? Yeah.
And as an example, Last Minute, Recognise.
Yeah.
Recognise got one of the first tracks on there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
When we presented it to Nerf, one of the first tracks called Recognise was a completely different tune.
Completely different.
Steve was like, you know, I've had this tune I've made recently, which I think is better. I think it's a better quality tune, which originally was called Repurposed.
Yeah.
We packaged it with that song, and Nerf was like, I'll take that.
Funny
like,
enough,
it sealed the deal.
It was.
It sealed the deal for the album, just by quality control.
There you go, definitely. What I'm going to do, I'm going to play Amari, because that was your first track together, and it was the start of this journey that's gone on to, you know, in actually a short space of time, going from this being signed to Nominate Sound for the album to come out on Macabre Unit, and then you guys with the stuff that you've got in the works as well. So I'm going to play this, and those that have just tuned in, thanks for joining us. Myself, the Nominate, here with Saraphim, Rick and Steve, and we're geek speaking about music production stuff, getting discovered, getting heard, and celebrating the release that they've just had on the educational-based label called Origins, which we're going to play in a bit. But for now, I'm going to play the first ever Saraphim track called Amari that is forthcoming on Nominate Sound. Sweet. so that's Amari, forthcoming on Nominate Sound, and it was the first ever Saraphim track, a collaboration between Rick and Steve. And I think people that know me and my sound will probably say, I can tell why Nominate likes that. Very kind of, not that it doesn't sound like me, but definitely my sort of flavours. Like, I'm into those ethnic kind of Eastern scales and ethnic instrumentation and stuff. Did you know that when you came down to Chelmsford, Rick? Did you kind of think that because it's kind of in that vein? Because another thing that I always say to people is, I mean, I get demos for my label, and I've got quite a broad style that I release on my labels. But then some people will send me stuff, and I'm like, do you really know my label? Like, you know, like, because they've sent me stuff that's way out. And actually, that's me with an open kind of mind and stuff. Yeah. But some people will just send stuff out just for the sake of it and see what kind of sticks, without kind of really doing their research and having almost like a game plan as well, of like knowing where to go, the right DJs and the right labels to approach. So did you kind of know that, and was it kind of a thing that...
Gotcha. So I'd say for the main part, we were looking at making deeper dubstep. So that was as far as the game plan really was. I literally just, it was all time. That bit was timing, because we'd made the one song and then this workshop came about. So that's all I had to bring with me. But it's just the case that the whole thing kind of came together because you guys, it's Nominate. I know you for dubstep. I've made a deep dubstep. I've made a deep dubstep tune. Yeah, so let's bring over. But I didn't deliberately think, oh, Nominate makes Blind Man. It's got Middle Eastern or ethnical influences in it. I'm going to make a tune like that, then bring it to him. It's just so happened that I had a tune like that and you were known for it. So I was like, yeah, I did go, okay, it makes sense to take it to you, but it wasn't in the case of we sat here and said, look, I want to try and get a Nominate sound. So if we make a tune like this and then go and see Nominate. But yeah, for instance, I mean, I wouldn't have taken it necessarily to somebody else who makes like, you know, like a rhythm, obviously like a rhythm label or something like that, you know, but, and yeah, it's a hard one to answer because some of this did happen. It's like mixture of thinking and organic stuff, you know. Yeah. So I'd say if I was trying to follow the journey, I think I just had a deep dubstep song, and I was going to go and see people who I knew were associated with deep dubstep. I know it sounds pretty basic, but that really was what it was. I had a tune which I was kind of confident in. Only tune we had, but yeah, it all kind of, the pathway we took with it was organic, but they were like the right steps, if that makes sense. I didn't seem to go, you know, off in the wrong direction anyway. They just seemed to all naturally fall into place. And if there was any, I don't think I would I think in the short answer, again, I keep saying that, but the shortest answer is I made it. We have made a song, Steve. And then this works. Yeah,
I'm sitting here like, well, come on now.
I keep saying I.
Yeah, it's cool.
I. So yeah, we made this song. And I say again,
just
yeah, that's it. Yeah, we made this song, and I think if I had, you know, I would have taken it to a deep dubstep label, and we'd been to this workshop. It just made sense. Got Nominate sound. He's played our song. He must like it. So we had that advantage. You played the song because it was. I don't know if you remember. It's because you had a competition running to get your song played out live, and that's the song you played out live. So that's when it got a bit of notice. It was like, it made sense. You know, follow the trail. You played it. You got a label. Let's see what he's saying. You know?
Yeah, definitely. And I know. I don't think for one second that anyone should tactically make something for a label unless they truly, like, I guess a lot of kids wanna, or a lot of producers may want to be on deep medi, and they might make something specifically with a deep medi vibe about it. But definitely, I guess my point is doing your research and knowing who plays what and who does what before you kind of just spam people with stuff that's irrelevant, really. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I could hear something like that also equally kind of sort of deep medi sort of vibe as well, I guess, you know. But yeah, So
But
yeah,
as well, I think it's a time thing as well. Like we've been into dubstep for a long time, so we are, yeah, like I said, knowing we almost subconsciously sort of, we could read off the labels which we'd, if you said to us dream label releases, we could sort of we kind of know what we've made and what labels like that sort of stuff produce, bring out releases that kind of, that style. So there's definitely, yeah, a bit of homework to be done, or just naturally as you get into a music scene, you want to take all of as much in as you can. And we knew maybe our top 5 labels, which, they're dream labels to get on, mate. And yours is definitely one of them. We aim to, we aim to kind of not finish, but we aim to get to Nominate Sound. We were just blessed enough to, the steps took us directly to you, which we're still, eternally grateful, mate, because
we joked about it. We joked about it.
Yeah, it's funny.
And he messaged me, and I was just like, "Shut up!"
Yeah, I was like, I just casually sent a message saying, "No, I think we're getting signed." Nominate Sound.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Well, that's very nice to hear. And just for those that are listening and are thinking, hang on, I thought this was supposed to be out now because I listened to the Subtle show a few months ago. I've put the label because of this lockdown. Basically, for me, when I get behind a release, I want to give it my all. And I think what lockdown has done in this pandemic has created a lot of question marks and hesitance and doubts and uncertainty and stuff like that. So I made a conscious decision just to kind of just sit on things for now and just see kind of how things play out before I get right back behind the release schedule and stuff. So it's still very much going to happen, and I thank you for your patience. It's just, I've kind of just put things on hold, like some labels have. Some labels have just cracked on. Some labels have just put things on hold, and I'm one of those labels that have just sat tight for a bit, just because I want to make sure that when I put your music out, it does the most for you that I can support. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah, we're just rolling with, mate. We're just whatever,
But
to be honest, I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah.
Because if it came out now, the chances are, I mean, like, of us going to a dance and hearing it, it's going to be a lot less than what they're going to be if it comes out once everything's up and open again.
Yeah, man, can't wait as well.
So for me, I'm on board, man.
Well, I've got an EP with Digital that's supposed to have come out on Metalhead's Platinum in January, February, and we had a conversation with Heads recently, and they said, look, we could put it out now, but do you really want to? Because you're not gonna get any gigs off the back of it. It's not gonna be played in a club. They're not really releasing stuff right now. They're putting a lot of remasters out and anything that was already in the system, and we were just like, nah, just wait. Yeah, and it's been around for like a year and a half now, that EP, just lockdown has created just a bit of a spanner in the works for a lot of things, I would say.
Crazy year so far. Just nothing ever like. I've never seen anything like this year before, and hopefully we don't again. Touch land in it.
But I can definitely say, like, what the tracks you guys have made in such a short space of time, and there's a gap in the dubstep scene, man. There's not many. I don't know. It just seems to be like there's room right now in the 140 scene, and I think because you guys are consistent and you're producing good music, I think you're going to do what you want to do without a doubt. I know labels are looking. They're on the hunt right now, and the quality of your music is up there. So I predict some good things for you guys. So just stick at it is what I would say, because I've certainly grabbed a bunch of tracks for the label, and it just seems, because of the education and bass connection as well, it just seemed right to put a track out on the label as well, because the label was set up for people that we work with, tutors, people that have come on board that have sent demos, or people that have come to our masterclasses and feedback sessions. So it was really nice to have that. I'm going to give before we do, I'm going to give a quick play of the track Origins. It came out on Friday on Education and Bass Recordings 003, and it's on Spotify, Amazon, all that good stuff. Juno, I'll stick the link in the comments. But tell us how that one came about and when.
When? I don't know exactly when. Do you know what? This one's a bit of a weird one, because normally we'll have like sort of a set of rules or constraints that we'll work to when we're making tracks. But we won't necessarily like have a quite a strict idea behind it. We'll be like, okay, it's got to be 140. It's got to be it's got to be dubstep. Obviously, it's got to be deep bass. We've got to have something. It's got to be like nice energy about it. It's got to be good vibe. But then from there, it's kind of like
yes.
where do we go?
Why they sound so diverse, the tunes, yeah.
Yeah, this is it. But this one,
this one here, quick, sorry, jumping in.
Go on.
Yeah, there's very few different ways we start tunes. This one here was Steve. Steve started this one. This one's mainly Steve on this one here. So you might as well break it down from the beginning, because
I was just going to say, like, it comes to me in the shower.
Yeah, because I actually heard, yeah,
humming it away in the shower. Like, okay, I'm going to have to quickly run in and whack something down. But yeah, like, it's just the idea come, and it was quite close as well to what I had in mind. Normally, what happens is I can have an idea, and like just generally when I produce, and then I kind of get something down, and it will kind of just start to like move away from that. It doesn't mean I'll be happy with the tune, but it can just move away from it. And that's just sort of normally how I build tunes. But this one was quite faithful to the idea that what I had, and yeah, it just so many articulations in the instruments was what really made it. Sort of as it drops, you'll hear the articulations of it's called Comanche or commenced sort of stringed instrument which comes in. And once that was played, once I played that on the melody, I was like, okay, yeah, here we go, let's go. And
Nice.
Once you've got something like that in your track that kind of just sets you on fire, right? It's like, okay, I'm definitely going to finish this now. This is definitely going to go. It's so much easier to carry on with it. And then yeah, it just set the vibe of the tune, and everything fell into place after that.
So does that happen? Because we did a live stream with Digital and Green Man last week, and Digital's always singing bass lines in his head before he lays them down and stuff. Does that happen quite a bit then? Is that way? Because there's been times that I know Nerve does it as well, where I've recorded maybe a drum pattern or a riff idea into my phone. But would you say that obviously you're probably definitely way more musically inclined than I am to be able to actually hear something and lay it down a lot easier? But is that a common thing that happens with melodies and riffs?
To be honest, like you just said, like quite a lot of the time he'll hum to me.
Oh really?
He'll go there. But yeah, most of the time, my production and whatever I do on Saraphim, it will be kind of get something down which has a vibe about it. It won't necessarily be specific. It won't have to be drums first or bass first or anything like that. But just get something down which has a bit of a vibe about it, and then just try and build from there. That's generally what happens. But yeah, with this one, it was completely different. It was just like, yeah, like I said, had an idea, had singing it in my head in the shower, and then bang, let's come and translate it down to the computer, and yeah, it worked.
And definitely say,
go on, Rick. Sorry.
It's different for every tune. I mean, because not every tune is made the same way. As in, sometimes we'll bounce bits backwards and forwards. Sometimes one of us will get through most of the tune on our own. This way here, it's so different. So many different bits. Some bits, as producers know, sometimes bits are a bit forced because you just, you've got an idea, but you've got to see it all the way through. So when it comes to melodies as well, I mean, it's done a couple of different ways. Steve, very good on the keyboard. He can pretty much play anything he hears in his head, or I sort of sit here and hum. And then sometimes there are sort of like, for instance, on Amari, the main melody through that one, we actually did chop up I remember I did in the first interview, I said to you, we don't really use samples, but on that particular tune, looking back at it, we actually chopped up a sample, and then we just sat here literally playing through it, almost like we chopped the sample, found the best keys, the strongest keys, and what again it was with melody, the tune did start mainly with the melody. Once we got the melody in place, but it was a bit of trial and error, fiddling around with keys, octaves, so forth, trying to find out the best strongest part, because we've got every tune is slightly different. There's no Saraphim template. There is no go-to to do. We just
from scratch almost every time.
Yeah, make music 140, generally a Middle Eastern sort of influence in it, and see what comes out the other end, which is good because you can get, like, for instance, the 4 tracks you've got are, I'd say they're very individual from each other, but they still sort of have one underlying, like, theme through them.
Definitely. Let's listen to Origins then. Where is it? Here. Cool. So this one, Origins, out now on Education and Bass Recordings by Saraphim.
The number one champion in the arena of dub. The number one champion in the arena of dub.
Sweet. Origins. So yeah, underlying kind of Eastern flavour, but with a, I don't know, 06, 07 dubstep feel to it as well, I would say, but a bit more
policey kind of.
Yeah, obviously 2020 fresh production styles, but definitely that flavour, kind of mid to later 2000s. Before we get stuck into that, just a few shouts actually. Easy Giorgio, Ruby, Leanne, Shelley, Brian, Gavin, Caroline. Is that your mum, Steve? Mummy loves dubstep.
Hello, Mum.
What about the dubstep, Mum?
Hello, Mrs. Reeve.
Mrs. Reeve. Ads, David, Scott, and Marcos. We're here with Saraphim. Just played a track called Origins. It's out now on Education Based Recordings. So you told us you was in the shower, the melody come to you.
All good ideas.
I'm assuming Rick wasn't there, but you know. And then, so did you also have the idea of taking it back to that old school vibe? Was that a part of the idea that came to you, or was that something that developed?
It kind of the whole flow of the tune was there. The sounds I was going to use, not necessarily, but it just kind of, because the flow was kind of like that, it just ended up turning into that kind of vibe. Yeah,
and I guess as well, because you were there, or at least you've got an appreciation of the old school vibe, that's how you were. Because one thing I always say another thing I say to people that are coming through, trace a genre back to its origins and the first generation, whether it's grime, first gen, second gen, third gen, and trace it back. And then what you'll start to realize is some of your favorite producers of now, because they've got an understanding or appreciation of the genre and its whole journey, you can kind of then trace back and get inspiration from different parts of the evolutionary kind of part of the genre. And then, I don't know, I just think it's really important to understand a genre's history to give you. Would you agree? Is that something that
Definitely. I'd say as well, with grime music as well, because especially with grime, because it's so hard to say. I even heard Stormzy say, when you get asked what is grime music, it's so hard to actually pinpoint and say what grime music is, because you could say, oh, it's 140 music with lots of hand claps, horns, but it's not always that. And I think there's so much of it. But I think the only way to really understand grime music, I might be wrong here, but it's my view, is to listen back and see where the roots are, because it's hard to say. I think you just know grime tune when you hear one.
Yeah, so what you described then, like you wouldn't put Low Deep in that, but Low Deep is grime, you know?
Yeah,
kind of completely different vibe, but it's grime.
But you know that from the roots, okay, this you're making because of the general feel of it and is grime music. But yeah, I definitely agree with that, 100%.
So I was just thinking about what you're saying with grime, because I think when you say to most people now, what is grime, maybe the younger generation, it is maybe what's kind of like the UK version of rap almost, with kind of Stormzy
like
and Skepta and stuff.
Rap.
Yeah, and then when you listen back, you might not even be able to relate. That's not grime. It doesn't sound nothing like what people know grime as now. But yeah, I just think I've always thought it's really important to trace the steps of these genres, and it can help inspire you within the genre that you choose to be in, right? I mean, if I didn't have, I'm working on a lot of new drum and bass, but I'm just listening to a lot of old stuff. Now I can actually produce. I'm listening to this old stuff. Oh, I know how to do that. And I'm going to borrow that, I'm going to borrow that, and actually do it and bring something new to the table, but by borrowing from kind of like the old stuff. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, if anybody's got any questions in the chat before we wrap it up, you've been in tune to myself, the nominee, with Rick, Steve, aka Saraphim, who have just had a release called Origins out on Educational Based Recordings, forthcoming EP on my Nominee Sound label. And is there anything else that you can tell us that you have coming up in the future? I know there's certain things you can't say, but is there anything that you can talk about?
Yeah, we've written this down because our
make sure we
memories
don't
are
forget it,
terrible. Make sure we get it right. Shout out to Locust Sounds. We've got something coming out there. Shout out to Archie, the whole full gang. Something coming out on there September-ish time. So look out for that. It's 4 tracks there. I don't know if he's announced which ones it is yet, but 4-track on that. Do you want to run through?
So we've got something coming out. We're getting locked down with the label with Ryder Shafiq, a track called Trod On. So yeah, we've got that coming soon.
Nice.
We've got some collabs coming up, and we've got some finished, some we're still working on. So yeah, a couple. Well, one thing at least, I'll say. But...
Yeah, but we can say we've got one with B-Hop stateside, so just getting that American Connect in as well. Done one with Skint Disco as well. We got that. We're trying to just finish that one up. That's like 80% done, 90% done. Just a couple of bits and pieces on that. We're just trying to finish off some collabs. Just keep making music, and I'm guessing we're all waiting for this lockdown to finish because we'd love to try and get on the sort of like circuit for like do some DJ work and try and get in the clubs. I think everyone's itching to try and get that, get to the sound system again.
Yeah, man.
So we're hoping to try and do that in the future.
I'm sure it will happen.
Looks like the other artists that we're collabing with at the moment is we just don't want to say it.
Put them under pressure.
But we're excited, man. We are excited.
Yeah.
That's all good. I'm sure it will surface in the right way at the right time. So, can you leave us with 3, so 1 each and 1 together, production tips or kind of things, definitely production based, that you do every time that you're happy to share? So like your top tips that you will always implement. I know you said you don't approach things in the same way, like idea wise, but certainly kind of the actual nitty gritty of the engineering. Are there any tips, one each, and then one kind of between that you would kind of just say, this is my top tip? Well, if you're happy to share it, that is. So we'll start with, go on, Rick.
Maybe arrangement-wise is we always try and have like maybe an A, B, and a C part to most of our tunes. We try and do that, not always necessarily, but I would definitely say that try and have at least a couple distinguishable parts to your tune. So you do have an A and a B and something for listeners to sort of listen to, take in, anticipate the next section, and be like, oh yeah, back into that. I'd definitely say, that's probably the best tip I would give. Ear candy, interest, and because if you listen to a tune yourself, you can be hearing. I mean, you're making the tune, you can be hearing that a lot yourself. So you don't want to get bored of your own songs either. You know, if you don't get bored of your own song after spending, 20 hours on it, 10 hours, 15, 20 hours on it, then you should have something someone else will find interesting.
So just on that, so your ABC sections, they're quite, from what I can hear, they're quite distinct. They're not subtle. They're kind of like, almost like verse, chorus sort of vibe. And actually, some of your 140, your dubstep, is quite reminiscent of grime when it switches up into different sections. Is it always distinct kind of song structure or 16-bar switch up sort of vibe, or is it sometimes a bit more subtle, but definitely an A, B, and C, even if it's not so drastic?
It's not. I wouldn't say it's always, but it's definitely something that we've kind of got into a habit into, just because it's a great way to have that, to keep the ear entertained, having something so different come in, and you can almost like, because if you have something sort of slow and progressive, which is how I approach production for a very long time, you can end up just sort of getting stuck in the same, it will sound like the same 16-bar loop over 32 bars, 48 bars, whatever. And the subtle changes just won't always necessarily do the right thing for me unless there's a big change in there, but it's just one element or two elements. It's easier to have that when you've got a whole, big 16-bar section, which is completely distinct from the rest of it. And then, you don't have to you can have an A, B, A, C, you can have A in there twice, and for the listener, it's okay. So you can get more time out of your tune if you do that, which is handy to know.
Cool. So is that the joint tip then? Have you got one little kind of nugget each?
Yes, could be.
Go on then, Steve.
Rick's like, that was mine. We'll
give that to Rick then. Go on then, Steve. Have you got a nugget? What's your kind of personal nugget?
For me, I guess for a track finished recently, it's just like if you're feeling like you're not really getting anywhere with a track, just give it some more time. Just spend some more time on it, and don't be scared to change some fundamental parts of that track. If you're not happy with it, there's going to be something big in that track. Like generally, it's probably something that's really driving the vibe of that track. Isn't right if you're not happy and you're getting bored and you want to quit. So change it. Don't be scared of that. You've got it saved. It's a project there. It's saved. And I've been like this for so long. I can't change it because now anything new sounds alien. And the good thing with having Rick is that you can make something, change it, and I'll be like, I don't think that sits right because it's just completely alien. That's what was there before. And he'll be like, I really like that. And it's just nice to have another set of ears there to say, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So just spend the time on it, and you just don't know that you might change something, and then it will just completely change the vibe of the track. Just to add to it a bit more is if you're like me in the way that you tend to sort of start tracks without a general idea. Like we talked about the constraints earlier about, you want it to be this, that, and the other. But if you've sort of built something up, chances are you've got a few different movements in there. You'll have your hats might be doing one thing, your bass might be doing something else while you're trying to find something. And you can have quite a lot of the track there all layered up and be something really strong. If you just take that out and you replay it, or you bring something in which fits the overall vibe of the track more, that can completely change your tune, and it can turn something which is okay or mediocre into great, or even a banger.
That's important. I think you can get precious over something. Like I've been struggling with the same thing. I'm halfway there with the idea, but I know I'm not fully there, and I know maybe just replacing a key element, maybe a similar key element, but a key element will get it closer to where I want it. But I'm so precious that maybe a patch that I've designed, like a wreath or something, and I've spent so long, in my heart I know it's not right, but it's like you try and hold on to it, and it's like, just let it go, man. If it's really not, you know, if it's not resonating in the way that you know it should, it's hard to let go. But I think you're right. I think it could really be a deal breaker.
Save as version 22. Just keep one on the hard drive. You know, yeah, you've still got it. It hasn't disappeared. You just got your new version. You know, worst case scenario, go back a couple of steps and open up the old projects. Way we do it.
You do have to be careful though, because you could just. I think it comes with experience, because there's two different ways to look at this. It's either not working or you've got bored because you've listened to it 6 million times. I'm probably bored of 99.9% of my tracks that I've made over 20 years, to the point where I wouldn't say I don't like them. I probably would actually. I'd say that I don't like most of my tracks. I don't regret putting them out, and at the time they did what they did and served the purpose, and I'm proud of my catalogue. But you've got to, I think it comes with experience. To say, I always say as well, you know when you get goosebumps, or you stand up in the studio and you're just getting into it, but then tomorrow, the next day or the day after, you're sitting there, this is rubbish. Try and take yourself back to when you stood up and you were like shacking out, because there's something to that. You know, it wasn't just gassing yourself up and getting overexcited. It might be, but I think it does come with experience, right? You can't just be pulling out main elements and just doing it forever, looking for that perfect sound.
Just to continue on from that, is I think a big thing there as well is like how you feel that day compared to how you feel the next time you step in the studio. It can be like a really big factor into how you are creatively. Like a lot of people say that, you know, they make their best tunes in, you know, a handful of hours, 5-6 hours, because, you know, if you're happy, like generally happy that day, and you're going to be more accepting of all the kind of different things, like problems with your track, but you're going to continue working and strengthen things up. So I guess, like, if you can, I guess that anyone who's going to be doing this is going to be doing this anyway, but if you can, and you're on a vibe, just carry on and get that tune, at least like the bones of it, the main vibe of the tune. The transitions and that you can always work on, mix down you can always work on, but the vibe of the tune, if you can get that down in one session and you're happy with it, then sweet. I think you're on to winner there.
Yeah, because your own personal mindset, the next day you might be feeling completely different, and you haven't got enough down, like Steve said, of the vibe itself, which is, you know, that is what you're following. You're adding on to that vibe. If you're not in that mindset, you might have a fairly hype tune, but you just come back from a rubbish day at work, and, you know, you just sort of like, you know, you might completely change up the whole feel of your tune, and it wasn't really where you was trying to go with it. So yeah, definitely, I'd say the more you can get down in one session, gives you more of a fight. We feel gives you more of a fighting chance when you open up a project the next day to continue in the same direction at least. But if you're not fussed about the direction you go in your tune, then I guess, you know, it doesn't matter. But if you want to try and stick to that original idea, the more you can get down in one session, less work you've got to do when you can get back to it.
Wicked. Just to sum up those two tips then. So Rick's saying an ABC arrangement concept where you kind of got 3 sections, and you may return back to one of those or you may not. But just having those sections there can really help develop arrangements. And Steve's saying don't get too precious over something if it's not working, because if it's not working, it's not working. But I would add to that it comes with experience, and like Steve said, it comes with the mood you're in, and you've got to be careful. Don't be making a big drastic, like, you can always go back, right? Like you said, Rick, go back. Often I do that. I'll change it, and I'll go back to the very first one, you know, and it's just kind of how it is. So one final kind of nugget that you guys have kind of developed as a go-to thing, whether it be a mix thing, a mix tip or trick for the listeners.
I guess, like,
viewers.
For us, I'm kind of just going to jump in there just as just a hope that he's on board. He's going to be on board. Is that, you know, for us, what I think is really important with Saraphim has been that we've got these rules, these constraints of what we think this sound is, you know, that we work to. And I think that's important, because one of the mistakes that I made in my own productions over the years is that I went everywhere that I possibly could with production, because it was like one big adventure, really. I loved making all these different types of sounds, and it gave whatever listener base was there before absolutely no consistency whatsoever to what they were coming to my SoundCloud page for, or to any sort of streaming account or anything. What are they going there for? But with Saraphim, they're going there for a type of music which has all these properties to it, which they can expect to find.
Yeah, because there's certain artists, but not many that can do that, and are out there or making all different types of music. I mean, recently I've been listening to a fair few bits by Sepia, and he can make anything.
Yeah,
who else? Probably, I mean, Enigma Dubs does a fair different sides of the spectrum. There are artists that can do it, but there's not a lot which can do it and have the following, consecutive following, because their listeners obviously open to a lot more than, say, someone else's following. It's the whole idea was to have this lane, and this is what because Steve mainly produces on his own. I do a bit of production on my own, but it was Saraphim was going to be this thing here, which we do together, and we run down this lane with it. There's room for offshoots under, could we do bits under RNS and our dubs as well, which is non-Saraphim stuff. We've got a few bits. Nothing we released. Nothing released. No. But so anything which we do, so it doesn't restrain us apart from, except for a certain production session. This session is Saraphim. Anything else we do, Steve does stuff on his own. There'll be no R dubs because he's got his album out at the moment. And then anything we make which doesn't sound Saraphim-ish, we under RNS and R dubs. R dubs, RNS.
So yeah, a signature. I think signature sounds is it can be restricting, but I think you'll, as artists, like coming from my perspective, I was the earlier Nominee stuff was very Nominee, and then I went a bit more on a journey of like a little bit down the grime road, a bit more back down the drum and bass road, and the 130 thing. I did quite a lot of 130 at one point with Nominee. I had to keep myself interested after a certain amount of time because there was only so much. I actually felt quite restricted by my own sound. But I think you're right. I think to kind of captivate an audience and to create that, there'll come a time, I think I can say to you, there'll come a time where you might want to kind of just go on a bit of veer off a bit, and those that will stick with you will. And some people might be like, I want that same thing all the time. But I think, I think you might want to kind of venture into other lanes. But it's really, you're right. I think it's really important to carve out a vibe, a sound, a following. And then when the time's right, that'll evolve into whatever it is,
Yeah, we don't just make dubstep. We just, guys, make music. Always will be making music. It's just, it's just a hobby, just something we need to get out, And I'd say as well, because we are a duo pair, that's what helps us in the studio is having a lane, because yourself, if you don't have an idea where you're going in the studio on your own, sometimes it's hard enough to get a tune out, let alone two people with completely different ideas going into a room. So along with both, it helps so much to actually get something down. We used to have so many sessions, we'd end up drinking more beer than actually making tunes because we didn't know what we didn't know what we were going to make that day. So it's definitely we don't condone it, guys. But so it does help when you just want to get in and get the job done, as you say.
Wicked.
Having a lane, an idea,
a plan.
Yeah, I think obviously there's always room for improvisation and experimentation, but I think it's always good to at least carve out a signature sound. Sweet. Well, thank you very much, guys. We're out of time because I need to go and reheat my Sunday roast.
Lovely.
Not because of this. My missus went to her parents and brought one back, a Sunday roast on a plate covered in cling film, so I'll be sticking it in the microwave and eating it. Didn't need to tell you that, but I'm thinking about my food.
Making me hungry though. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the music, your time today, and keep up the good work. Because I think, like I said, I'm not just gassing you up. I think I predict that there's a gap for you guys that you're starting to fill, and I think you're going to do really good things. So keep it up. Thank you. And any final words?
Big up everybody who's listening to our music, taking the time to, and all you guys, people signing up, people listening, just respect, and we're going to keep cracking on and giving you as much good music as we can. Really, that's yeah.
100%. And yeah, thank you for having us on this.
All good. And all the socials, just Saraphim everywhere, yeah? Saraphim Dubs, is it?
Saraphim Dubs, SoundCloud, Twitter, Facebook, Insta. It's all Saraphim Dubs.
Wicked. Go follow, go listen, and till next time. Peace.
Peace.
Right.